Lately, I've been meeting so many people who want to show up more authentically, who want to bring their message to the world, and they're just saying me, I just don't think I have enough discipline to just show up and create, but it won't lead you where you think you're going with the discipline, because I've done it. I've showed up, I was disciplined, creating the content, but it just drained my soul out and I just got burnt out and I didn't want to do it anymore. And that was because I was always pushing through this one block that I'm going to talk about in this video. That was making it extra hard for me. And unknowingly, I was just pushing myself because I thought this is what it is. But actually, by doing the inner work, it can be so much easier. And even yesterday, I went to an event. I co-facilitated it for helping people align with their true self and find direction in life. And so many people were sharing how they're afraid to really share themselves authentically because there's something inside holding them back. And yeah, that's the case for most people out there. We all have those parts that are trying to hold us back because when we were little kids, that was needed to survive, to show up, to people please in a way that was acceptable. So then now my authenticity cannot shine because I'm always overridden by this fear. And I was discovering what is it for me that is preventing me from showing up unapologetically, not being afraid to be criticized. And I realized that was this deep inner wound of unworthiness, of deep shame. And working through internal family systems model, I met up with that shame, with that wounded part, and she was telling me that she's just so unworthy that she'd rather not even live. Now, I kind of want to make this video more tangible so that you could take away something and you could apply this process in your own life. So I even want to invite you to look at your own relationship with creating content, with being authentic, with showing up, and see what comes up in your body when you think about yourself, maybe in front of a camera, recording something, going on a podcast, or doing any content. What comes up? And sense it in your body. And you don't have to do it right now. You can do it as well. Might as well you can do it right now, but you can stop the video and take as much time as you want. But I just want to lay out the process of what really helped me to heal my inner shame, my inner unworthiness wound, so that now I don't really care. I'm like, this is what I am. You can like it, you can hate it. Doesn't have anything to do with me. This is just who I am. And the process is meeting with the part, sensing it in your body. And this is not to change it. If you come with an idea that you're coming to do this work to change it, it's not going to happen. You have to really come into this state of curiosity, compassion, just holding space for whatever is, and then naturally the transformation can come. So as you notice it in your body, just start seeing. Maybe some visuals appear. It can be your inner child or anything else. It can be an inanimate object. And just give space, let it tell its story. And then naturally, as it feels that you're really giving this love and acceptance, it can start soften up. But for everyone, it's going to be different. So I want to share my own story, how it was for me, so that maybe you can take away bits and pieces and start looking where you can do this inner work to be able to create with ease, to not feel judged every time you talk. And yeah, so for me it was, even though I'm an IFS practitioner myself, I know all the steps, I have all the training, but I still work with other IFS practitioners because having someone else to hold space just unlocks a deeper sense and a deeper healing, rather than if it was just me meeting with the parts. Because that's what I do every day, checking in what's alive in me, what are the parts active. Before each activity that I do, I connect and see how I can soften up and open up more into my true self. Even yesterday I was leading a workshop and I noticed my inner critic becoming active, and previously it would overtake me. I would start speaking either very, very fast or just stumbling on words, and then it would just go down the spiral. And now, using internal family systems, I know that part. I've met with her, I've done the work, but she still shows up because, that's what parts do. They're still with you all the time. And now it's just very different because I can see her, I can notice, and I can just ask her to, ease up a little bit. I can reassure her that I'm fine, I'm good, I have it together, I am in my true self. And because she trusts my true self, she easily relaxes and gives the power to me. So that's how I use it in my daily life, just for check-ins. But if I sense that there's something deeper, a deeper core wound coming up, that's when I see a therapist and I go deeper. So for me, it was meeting with that shame part. She just felt so unworthy, so shameful, like a big black hole. And I kind of sensed how a big black hole was in my chest. Just, there was that space, like a void. And then the next step is to let it tell its story. So I was just asking her, what have you been going through? What happened in your life? And she was showing me all these events in my childhood, how she had to protect herself and build this armor of perfection. And she was showing me how she built this whole perfect personality, who's liked by everyone, who is excelling at school and every other activity she undertakes, and how that's a shield so that she can be protected, that nobody would see how shameful she is. But then when I'm going out there and I want to share content that's more authentic and really true to me and to my vision and mission in life, what I want to do, it was threatening to her, because now people could see past my perfection, because I was showing my vulnerabilities, that I don't have it all together all the time. And that's when she started showing up. And the more I shared vulnerably, the more I expressed myself how I am without putting this perfectionistic field and allowing people to connect to who I really am. That's when she was like, oh my God, you realize how close they are. They will see how unworthy, shameful, disgusting, fucked up you are, and they will just leave you. And when I was a child, leaving me would mean death. So I get why she was so scared. And I just allowed her to speak all of these things and show me what other parts she made allies with. And there was the inner judgment part and the self-doubt part that would always kick in when I would be in a risky situation of exposing my inner shame and inner unworthiness part. And, coming from that true self, I tried to extend my love to her, as we all do in the next step. We just, in doing the IFS, extending love to all the parts, not trying to change them, shame them, fear them, fight with them, none of that. Just extending love and appreciation and seeing how much they've been doing and how hard they've been working all their life. But the thing is, she just had a wall. She could not accept love because she felt so unworthy of love. And you can see how that can play out in relationships, of not really accepting the love, the praise and appreciation, and still feeling that no matter what I do, I'm still unworthy and just I'm a bad person. And yeah, that was playing out my whole life. to some extent in various situations. And I just sat there and just, observed what's happening without any desire to change it. And at some point, I just realized that this black void is becoming smaller. It's becoming smaller, and at one point, it just became like the size of a finger. And it just occurred to me that, this shame is just one tiny speck in my whole body with all the other emotions, that it's not overwhelming me anymore. And that's what happens when you expand your inner true self. All the other parts feel they're so small that they don't need to, that they're not as scary and they're not as big. And they just naturally start shrinking. And when I truly accepted that, you know what, maybe I will live with this tiny speck of shame and unworthiness in me all my life, and that's okay. I was like, that's totally fine. Look, that doesn't bother me at all. And once she realized that, she was like, oh, really? I thought I'm like the worst. And it took a while for her to stay in that, like, trying to shift the perspective. And at some point in the session, she just took off, she was wearing like a black coat, shield, all like broken and messy. She just took that off, and she was like a 2-3-year-old girl, and just ran to me, like naked, and just being, oh my God, ready to embrace all my love. And it was just so beautiful. And the power is that shame part, that unworthiness part, was actually the part that's proud of me, that's proud to be who she is. And life was just burdened her with that heavy coat that she had to be unworthy, and she felt unworthy and shameful. And realizing that she doesn't have to wear that coat anymore, she just left it. And like together with the coat, that perfectionistic shield she has built also kind of dissipated. It became transparent, and she was so freed up. So that's the next step during the IFS process, is to unburden those parts, those inner wounded parts, so that they can become their own true nature. See, we connecting to our own true nature and seeing these other parts in their own true nature helps them become that. And all my other parts, like my inner control part, was actually my joyous part. And when I released her of the need to control, she was like striking, like jumping around, being so happy. And then my inner judgment part was actually my cheerleader. And that's the power of going and meeting with those wounded parts of ourselves and seeing what's actually on the other side, how beautiful they are and how supportive they can be. And that doesn't mean that sometimes it can still come up again, especially if we don't do the work, follow-ups after sessions. So now my job is to always reconnect to my system, see what's there, how's my inner critic, how's my controlling part, how's my unworthiness part, and all my other systems. And just continuously giving them that appreciation and that love. And from this state, I was just so inspired to share myself with the world. I'm like, here I am. This is all who I am. And there is no more of that inner unworthiness, shameful part that's like, oh no, don't show up all as you are because, they're gonna see me and that's really, really bad. And now she's like, I'm proud to be who I am. I know I'm not perfect. I have all parts of me, but take it or leave it. I like myself. And that's the true liberation. And I just wanted to share this story to inspire you to look within yourself to see what is really holding you back. Is it really the lack of discipline? Because sometimes it might be. Sometimes you just need to start doing it and get rolling with that. But a lot of times there's those inner shadow aspects that are actually preventing you from being at the fullness of who you are unknowingly. And if you don't really pay attention to your internal world, you might not even notice there's something there. But now, hopefully, after this video, you will start getting in tune with that more and observing and noticing and getting to do the work, maybe finding the right therapist for you, the right practitioner. For me, until this day, internal family systems has been the most profound modality I found for myself and working with the clients. Also combining in that with hypnotherapy to do an even deeper immersion into the subconscious mind and finding what's there. So I just invite you to explore this shadow aspect and really take it as an important piece of the stepping stone to becoming the fullness of who you are and coming into the self-leadership, to always embody that state of inner consciousness, awareness. Well, when I say always, again, there's also doesn't mean that I'm enlightened now and those parts don't come up. But like I said, it's just very easy to then notice them and reconnect to the truth of who I am. Hope you have a beautiful day. Sending you greetings from Bali and see you in the next one.